brought to us by Rocket Money. Ever feel like your money just disappears each month? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. That's where Rocket Money comes in to help give you clarity. Track every dollar and stay in control of your finances. Take control of your money and cancel unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Just go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That is rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Brian's been in the queue for the last 3 minutes. Some of the faces he was making at this debate were priceless. So, Brian, I can't wait to hear what you think about this.
Please tell him he's crazy.
Wait, I want to start with this question. Can I start with this question? Brian, for you, a former quarterback. By the way, it's good to see you again.
You see what we did? You came here the first time to Brian. We asked you the regular questions. Now this time you in the panel, you got to say something.
Did you expect anything different?
I mean, now you guys got me signed up on this contract, and it's like I'm like, what am I walking into?
You're in now.
I'm like ready to break down the
Welcome to the
Browns
family,
team.
where we love everyone and we dislike everyone. So, Brian, and again, good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
In general, and I know it's different because like Josh Allen is at an MVP level, and the Browns quarterback play has been. We know what it's been.
Objection, leading the witness. Go ahead.
You know what? That's actually sustained.
Yeah. Against your own argument.
I know, but I got to be fair. I am leading the witness.
Yeah.
So let me ask it this way.
Yeah.
In general, what is a quarterback worth in points added? In baseball, it's the wins above replacement. I'm asking this question, points above replacement per 4 quarters. What do you think it is?
God, it's so hard, and you're using such a great guy as your reference. Josh Allen, I was just at the game this past weekend and seeing what he did against that Patriots defense. And Josh is so unique because of his skill set. It basically makes the defense alter their game plan. So you're talking about a guy who can really come in and change how a defense is going to defend against you. Now, I will say this. I do think the Bills' surrounding cast is better than the Browns' surrounding cast. James Cook is a tremendous running back. Their tight end duo may be one of the best, if not the best duo of tight ends. Now, I'll say this. As I was getting ready to come in here and be analytical, I think Harold Fannin is going to be one of the top tight ends in the league. I love watching this guy. The way he plays the game, he's clearly become Shedeur's go-to guy. And I think they got a steal, and I think he's great. But the duo of Knox and Kincaid and the way that they use them is very unique. And then I would go as far to say that the offensive line is light years ahead of where the Browns is. They have a makeshift offensive line. I mean, the guy who's sustained it all is the guy who is the only Brown left from when I was playing, Joel Bitonio. And so, like, you've got a makeshift offensive line in there. The guy who's kind of been the consistent one is the oldest guy. I don't think it's comparable to say, like, I don't know how much better the Browns are with Josh Allen because you can't do it on your own. Now, if there's one quarterback in the league who kind of has put his team on the back at times, it's him. But I look at the Browns situation, watching that game against Chicago. It seems to me there's certain guys that are just checked out and haven't been on some teams where you're 3-10 and it's the end of the season and it's cold as hell. Like I'm not there, but there's guys who are ready to like make sure that they stay healthy, get to the off season, all of those things, and you can see that by some of the way that these guys are playing out there.
Right, but Brian, don't you think like if Josh Allen's the quarterback, guys wouldn't be thinking about that stuff because at the very least they'd have 5, 6 wins, 7 wins. Jay said 5 originally. I said worst case scenario.
I'll give you 5.
To be there 7.
I'll give you 5.
So they wouldn't be totally out, especially in this division. Even at 5 wins, you wouldn't be completely out of it. But with Josh
I don't
Allen,
disagree with that.
Right, and if your defense, which has played well until the last 2 weeks, they've had so much pressure on them that they've worn down. I think as the year's gone along, that would not have happened if they had Josh Allen.
No, I would agree with that. I think the one thing, the defense, one, you got great players. You have Myles Garrett, who's just on a whole different level. And I have a lot of respect for Coach Schwartz. I think he's a tremendous coach. I remember when he was the defensive coordinator for Philly when we were about to get ready to play them in the Super Bowl and the challenges that his scheme presented and how hard his guys play. And I think when you go into the game and say, man, we have to be basically perfect, it weighs on a unit week after week after week. And so it's tough. I mean, look, Does Josh Allen make this team better? Yeah, of course. He's probably the top 2-3 quarterbacks in the NFL. So he does. But I would say this, and having played the position, it's about the surrounding cast as well. And so I would say when I look at the Browns offense, and I think this is, I was trying to find the positives to talk about. Like, you have a young core of guys that I think are going to be good players in this league. Judkins, I already mentioned Fannin. I think what Bond has shown in the past few weeks, I liked what he was doing in this game against Chicago. So you have some guys, but you're going to need a lot of help. Whoever's playing quarterback for the Browns next year, you got to make a lot of improvements along that offensive side of the roster.
No doubt.
Let me ask you this, Brian, and Bull, I'm curious to get your answer on this too. And I know it's early, and I'll preface it by stating that because it's obvious. The Browns are going to have a decision to make in the draft. The decision is, and we don't know where they're going to draft. If right now they're drafting 4th, and at least one of the teams ahead of them would take a quarterback. So you're looking now at QB2, unless you trade up and give away more assets. If you had to say, based on what you've seen now, is the Browns' future franchise quarterback on this roster?
I don't think you can give a definitive yes. I think that I've seen improvement from Shedeur Sanders. I think there's a lot of plays that flash, and you say that's a starting quarterback type of play. But he would have to have like a Jimmy Garoppolo, what Jimmy did in that first year in San Francisco type run over these next 3 weeks. And I think you still have to really take a hard look at if you have a chance to get Fernando Mendoza, which I don't know how much you guys have watched this guy. I've watched him play, but just the way he carries himself, like, I don't know, like, if the Raiders pass on Fernando Mendoza and he's sitting there and you don't have to trade up for him, are you going to say, we're going to pass on this guy? Because he's pretty impressive. Now, there's a lot to be, I haven't totally broken down college film of quarterbacks yet, but after that, I don't know who you would take. I don't know if anyone after that is better than where Shedeur is right now. And there's a lot of time left to determine that. Shedeur has 3 more games to play. These guys in college have to figure out who's coming out, what are they doing. You have to watch them go through the process. But I wouldn't say that anybody on the Browns roster yet has solidified themselves as the opening day starter next year. I think that's still yet to be determined.
I think Brian makes a great point. I think if you're the Browns, whoever's making the decision, if they have the opportunity to, let's say they think Mendoza's great, it's the next franchise quarterback, he's the only guy. If you have a chance to get him, you get him. It doesn't matter what else you need because you can get those things at other times. You never pass on a chance to get a franchise quarterback. It would be crazy. Now, if you don't think Mendoza or any of these guys is a franchise quarterback, then of course you don't take them. Right. You certainly don't trade up for them.
Because we've done that before.
You don't take them.
We've done that before.
Or if you think, if whoever's making the decision thinks Shedeur Sanders is the franchise quarterback, then you don't take him either. But if you're not sure about Shedeur as an organization, I don't know how they feel right now or whoever's making the decision next year, and if you're convinced Mendoza's the guy, then I don't even think it's a discussion. Then it's an easy decision, in my opinion. Brian, are you on board with that?
The biggest question, and you just repeated it several times, is who's making the decisions?
Right.
Is it Jimmy and Dee Haslam? Is it Andrew Berry? Is it Kevin? Like, that's all yet to be determined as well. And who's going to be the one? Let's just say you clear house. Okay, you have someone bringing someone new in that's going to evaluate Shedeur from an unbiased perspective. Like, that's going to go into it too. So there's a lot, I would say, that has to be determined before you say yes or no to whoever it is. But I promise you this, someone is going to draft Fernando Mendoza, that he will be the first quarterback off the board. There's no doubt. I've talked to John Gruden. He was on our podcast about it. He's raved about him. I've watched him play, albeit sparingly, but the game-winning drive at Penn State, I think he makes all the throws. Obviously, he's the only person to beat Ohio State this year. He's very well poised. Everybody raves about him. He will be the number one guy. There's no doubt about it, in my opinion. And so then you have to weigh that decision. And I don't know if it's worth trading up 2 spots with Vegas. Maybe they tempt you into doing it. But if he falls to number 4, if that's where the Browns end up being or wherever it is, are you going to sit there and say, we're going to pass on this guy for Shedeur? I don't know. There's still 3 games to be left to be played. And I would say when I watch the film, Shedeur has made improvements. He's starting to understand the game. Now, there's a long way to go. Obviously, I'm not going to put the interception that hit Judy in the chest and Jalen Johnson picked off. That's clear as day. That's on Jerry Judy. But the other ones are the one trying to hit Fannin on the play action. That's a play that I threw to Jordan Cameron back in 2014. And when I look at that, his feet aren't project. He's taking a 3-step drop on a play action pass. It's got to be a 5-step drop, and that is why the linebacker gets back underneath the football. And then the other one is just learning in the when a corner has his hips towards you and you think you could throw it over to him. Bill Belichick used to describe it as the Pythagorean theorem, and I was like, man, I never thought I was going to hear that in a football meeting. But you have to learn those things, and so. But I do think his pocket presence at times has improved. There are times where I see a lack of, I would call it like a sense of urgency. He kind of just sitting back there. But other times he moves his feet and makes a big throw. I thought the throw to Bond down the middle versus the blitz, like he's clearly identifying when those opportunities are there. So he's improving. It's just a matter of how much are you going to put on this audition to bypass a potential franchise quarterback, if that's what they deem, whoever makes that decision, if that's what they deem Fernando Mendoza is.
Brian, the key thing to me is, I'm a bit of a Game of Thrones guy, and so when I watch, I love, so I feel like
winter is coming. Winter was there in Chicago last week. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, it certainly was.
I'm trying to figure out if D. Podesta was Littlefinger or Varys. I don't know which one it was. I don't know because he's gone now, and so now everybody is trying to be the hand of the king. So I'm trying to figure out if Andrew Berry is the hand of the king now because he's done some things in the reach and the veil, and he's been really, he has an army. Now listen, if you look at it, and you are Andrew Berry, if they do draft a quarterback, right? The owner said 3 wins wasn't good enough, right? 3 wins wasn't good enough and Stefanski got let go. If I'm looking at it, does that not mean that Andrew Berry, if he's retained, has to have a significant win-loss record gain in terms of what 2026 looks like if he's not going to be the next guy on the chopping block? So
I would think so.
So for me, I look at it and be like, well, look, okay, well, Shedeur Sanders is here. I kind of know what I got a little bit. I don't know if I'm for sure, but I might not be sure in 7 games, but maybe I might be sure in 14. And if he could get me 6 wins, 7 wins, and I could get some pieces and parts, maybe then if I figure out in that area, if he's not the guy, I can go ante up in 27 and get the Arch Manning that we always talk about. Is there any pressure if Andrew Berry is staying that he has to field a team and offensive line and weapons, and this team has to look markedly better if he's going to continue to keep his job if Stefanski gets fired and he's retained?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, look, this is a results-driven business. So let's just, for your theory that Stefanski's gone, Berry stays. Like I said before, they need to vastly improve the offensive roster. I think the defense is really pretty good. Does he say I can build around Shedeur and get better pieces around him and try to win 6-7 games with Shedeur and that's progress and I keep my job? Or does he feel like, man, I got to add those pieces and I just still not sure if Shedeur's the guy? And ultimately, like this goes back to the decision, like who's making these decisions? Whose input is being put in? You guys would know better than me, but like who made the Shedeur draft pick? I think to this day, like is it the owner? Is it the GM? Clearly it's been let on that it wasn't Stefanski's choice. Right. Like I've heard about all that, but like I'm looking at, that rookie class is pretty dang good. If you stop after Harold Fannin Jr., like Mason Graham, Schlesinger, probably defensive rookie of the year. Judkins, I think, is your back of the future. Harold Fannin Jr., I think, will be a top 5 tight end. And then you kind of got yourself into a bit of a quarterback pickle by taking guys, right? So I would say you're going to move forward, and I would say Shedeur has clearly outpaced Dylan Gabriel and the question of who's going to be vying for that job. But look, maybe you draft Fernando Mendoza, but you still give Shedeur. I wouldn't hand him the job. I think you need to challenge him anyways. As a competition with Shedeur, I don't know, and ultimately, I think the first question will be is who's making that decision. Did they have a hand in drafting Shedeur? Because obviously they might have some bias there, and ultimately, can they evaluate him fairly and then really sit there and say, how do we improve the team?
Ryan, one of the factors in that decision, which really hasn't been discussed much, we brought it up on this show, is that there were comments from the Browns coaching staff on Friday about what a joy it is to have Deshaun Watson back in practice, and that he's been a positive influence on this football team. He's got, an $80 million cap hit? He's not going anywhere. He's coming to camp. Do you tell him you have no chance to win this job? Here's your $80 million. Like, I think he has to be factored into all of this decision making too. Am I right?
I mean, as crazy as it sounds, I think you have to look at it that way. I mean, this is where the problem all begins. And so, if he's there and you're paying him, and no one's going to try to take him off your hands, would you be upset next year if it's Deshaun Watson and Shedeur and they're competing for the job? I don't know. I mean, look, like I said, I think Shedeur has shown improvement. From what I've read, Deshaun has been helpful to Shedeur at practice, on the sidelines, things like that. So there could be worse scenarios than having Deshaun Watson and Shedeur compete for your starting job. If and the big if is if you're able to use all of those picks in free agency to improve the people around them, I think you can improve your record. Now, how safe does Andrew Berry feel in our hypothetical situation? I don't know. Does it need to be 8 wins, 9 wins? I don't know if that's the answer at that point. So, but you're right. I mean, when you have a guy on the roster and he's taking up that much cap space, and unless you can get rid of him and trade him somehow, which I don't really foresee that happening, I don't think you could have a worse option than that.
Last thing real quick, Brian, because I know I need to go. Brian, for those who don't know, has the longest NFL career of any St. Ignatius player.
It's like come in and just outwork everybody. I think that's what they got to do, and we'll see if he's the right guy for the job.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it
Thanks,
plays
Brian.
out. Brian,
You're
thank
awesome.
you very much.
Appreciate it.
Have a great holiday season. We'll see you soon.
Brian's awesome.
Yeah, Brian's a new
His
contributor to
insight's terrific.
UCSS, so we'll be seeing Brian a lot in 2020.
Very good.
By the way, to answer your question, I know we got to get the super chats, Mike, and I know you guys were talking about this, and you both felt like you can't draft a quarterback next year.
No, I think here's what I would
I didn't
say.
hear the whole segment.
I would not move up to draft a quarterback.
Well, here's the
and
thing.
I'm only drafting a quarterback if the guy I love is there when I'm picking.